Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. We're going to start with chapter 14, Foundations of Organizational Structures. So basically organizational structures is defined by how job tasks are formally divided, grouped and coordinated. So there are 6 elements of organizational structure: work specializations, departmentalization, chain of commands, span of control, centralized versus decentralized, and formalizations. So we first start with work specialization. So these 6 key elements will be discussed one by one. So the first one is work specializations. So when we talk about work specialization, we talk about the divisions of labor. That means the jobs need to be done into separate activities. These separate activities, for example, in order to complete in order to complete building something, the jobs of need to be given into separate activities. So work specializations involve repetitions of work, involve trainings in order to increase the specializations. So because of the training being given, so the outputs, the outcome of the job become more efficient, become more effective. So efficiency mean the employees could produce more products or more outputs within limited times, within a short period of time. So this actually could increase efficiency through inventions as well. So the work specialization start with Henry Ford when he built automobile assembly lines. So he divided into several activities of assembly one car or assembly a car, instead of one employees performing from A to Z in terms of finishing the jobs. Employees will be given into separate divisions where they focus on performing that activities only. So workers normally do specific or repetitive work. They're breaking up job into small and standardized tasks. So instead of one person doing all the jobs, so they divided employees based on the task. So one employee is only performing one part of the job, not the whole job in for example, in producing a car. So the entire job, so work specializations here is indicate here, and entire job is broken into number of steps, each completed by a separate individuals. Next is span of control. When we talk about span of control, we talk about how many employees a manager can efficiently and effectively direct. So under one manager, how many employees have to be reported to these managers. So the wider or larger the span, the more efficient the organization. So the wider span of control means one manager, they have many employees. So shorter or narrow span of control, one manager, they have only few numbers of employees. So wider span mean more efficient in terms of cost, can reduce effectiveness. However, wider span because there are many employees under one manager, so this employee may involve in social laughing, where they talks and we gossiping and when they doing things, so that's this actually can lead to ineffectiveness. Narrow span of control consists of limited or small numbers of employees under one manager. So narrow span of control consists of 3 major drawbacks. Expensive because one manager, few employees. So because of few employees, one manager, they have if the organization have more employees, they need to have more managers. So this having more managers because under each manager there are few employees. So narrow span actually is quite expensive because they add level of management. They add levels to the managements. So they make the organizations become more vertical, become more taller, and the communication become vertical. That means the communications happen between top to lower level employees instead of horizontal. So this also a narrow or small span of control encourage overly tight supervision and discourage employee autonomy because they have one manager for a few employees. So this manager could supervise closely each of the employees under them, under this manager. But for wide span of control, because one manager for many employees, so managers cannot supervise each of the employees under this manager because they have many employees. So for manager who have few employees, like in narrow span of control, so managers can closely supervise the employees, and this actually could discourage employee autonomy. So this slide showing that this is showing two of the span of control. So here, as you can see, there are many managers. So there are 7 layers. So this one is one managers, 4 employees. One manage 16, for example, 16 managers, 64 employees. So here is one manager, 8 employees, 64 managers, 512 employees. So the numbers are actually, the total numbers are similar, but this one has consider a few numbers of the managers. They only have 1, 2, 3, 4, but here they have many layers. So based on, if we want to see between narrow and wider span of control, this is a bit narrower, this is a bit wider, this is a bit narrower. So narrow span of control will increase the hierarchy of the management. Wider span of control reduce the hierarchy. As you can see here, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Here instead 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So another key elements of organization structure is departmentalizations, where job work groups based on the common tasks that need to be coordinated. So departmentalization can be by functions, can be by products or service, can be by geography, can be by process, can be by types of the customer. So by functions, is mentioned here, the first one, by functions, the jobs are grouped based on function. For example, human relations, human HRM, sale, marketing functions, accounting functions, finance function. That's based on function. Product, whether it is, for example, clothes product, whether it is clothes, jewelry, shoes. So that's based on the product line. Based on the process, whether the job is based on the, for example, on the basis of the product or customer flow, or in terms of the customer, whether the job is group based on the customer needs or type of the customer. Type of the customer, perhaps for example, retail customer, commercial customer. So that's considered based on the customer. Departmentalizations based on the geography, for example, departmentalization based on territory or geography, for example, regional, headquarters, and also branch, for example, Kuala Lumpur, Cape Town, London. So they based on the geography locations. So that's based on the departmentalizations. Another key elements of organizational structure is chain of commands. When we talk about chain of command, we talk about the authority from the top to the lower level of the employees. So chain of command is an unbroken line of authority that extend from the tops of the organizations to the lowest level of employees that clarify who report to whom. Because in the organizations there will be some layers in the organization. For example, there will be supervisor, frontline managers, middle managers, top managers, and the CEO, vice director, CEO, and so on. So each layer will have the manager, the manager that supervise the employees. So employees, this actually will tell the employees are reporting to which manager. So chain of command is unbroken line of authority that extend. That means that's continuously extend from the first line of managers or supervisor, first line, to the top of CEO. So chain of command is a used to be a basic cornerstones of organizational design. There are two complementary concepts when we talk about chain of command: unity of command and also authority. Unity of command is referring to the concept of unbroken line of authority. That means from the lower level of the employees to the tops, the line of authority it keep continuously without any broken in terms of change of commands. So it's also state that the persons should have only one superior or one manager to whom he or she is directly responsible to. So one employees normally will have a direct manager, one direct manager. If one employees have many direct managers, there will be some conflicting kind of directions will be given to the employee. So we do not want this kind of in the organizations. They do not want to have many conflicting of orders coming from the managers. So it is important to have only employees to serve under one managers or one leader or managers. When we talk about the authority, we talk about the rights inherent to the management to give order. So the manager the employees who are responsible to this manager are being given the authority to give order to these employees. So this authority can come with the positions or can come with the orders, but normally with the positions. If they have positions or as a manager, and then employees, this manager supervise the employees, so this employee automatically become this manager automatically have authority over the employees that they supervise. So authority is referring to the legitimate rights that the manager have in terms of making decisions, in terms of give directions, and also in terms of allocating resources. So chain of command, however, is less relevant today because of the technology. We do not need more leaders. So because of technology and trends of empowering people, where employees will give them more empowerment, they do not need to have managers or supervisor to closely supervise them. Instead, they just been given some authority to do their own jobs, to be responsible to their own performance. So this actually could increase employees' satisfaction. Operating employees also make decisions one reserved to managers. So when chain of command is less relevant today, because normally employees make decisions, they can make their own decisions. This decision used to be reserved for managers, but now because of the technology, employees can make their own decision regarding their own work. So this also because of the popularity of the self-managed team and cross-functional teams, so this kind of team actually do not need a leader. So self-managed team and members in the teams, they manage their performance themselves. They do not need a leader to supervise them or to closely manage them. Cross-functional team also, they also they also basically do not have leaders. They may have some leaders, but the importance of the leaders is not really strong. So many of these teams are been they do not have a leaders. They're responsible for their own performance, for their own members. So because of this kind of team become popular nowadays, so chains of command become irrelevant. So many organizations also still find that however, there are some organizations still find that it is important to enforce chain of command in order to be productive, especially in the factory or manufacturing industry. They need to have a manager who will enforce chain of command, so that's to give orders, so that employees become productive and so on.